Hello and welcome to Virtuos. This time we're going to be creating Oath Mark, which is like a rock monument, or it could be a monument of any kind, but we're trying to build a flying rock for elves. I specifically built this for Oath Mark. First we take XPS foam and start cutting it in a shape like an oval rock, and this is pretty much how it ended up for me. After the sculpting was done, I used an aluminum foil ball to make some kind of rock texture on it, just by pressing it on the foam. I will be using a 30mm foam base that I created a while back. These bases are not sturdy enough so that model would stay upright if not, so you might want to use plastic or even coins or something heavier. Next we have this small metal wire, and I will be putting it around my finger to make it like the swirly magic thingy that's holding it up in the air, and I'll just press it into the XPS foam and also on the base, and this is what it looks like right now. I also put some super glue in there to make it really stay in place, and you can use PVA glue or whatever for this. Then I base coated it with black paint. Nothing special there, and in the meantime, while it was drying out, I took some Fimo polymer masks and started creating shields, spears and stuff like that. Next, a bit of PVA glue on the base, and I spreaded it around and then put some small rocks on it. This is just coarse sand that I found on the beach and sifted through, and usually this works pretty well also for grass effects. Then I have some small rocks that I also found outdoors, and I placed them on the base also, just a couple to make it look not so symmetrical. Next up, I used hot glue gun to put like a transparent coat of glue on top of the metal wire, so it looks a bit not so uniform with the wire. Next, dry brushing with blue color all around, just so that the black color on the bottom shouldn't be showing too much. And while the blue was drying, I coated the base with black base color. Next up, I dry brushed the whole block of foam with just basic white color. Next, I also painted the swirly thing with white, and I think that might have been a small mistake, but I actually managed to make it even in the end. Then I used green color on the base to make it more like grass, and I used a bit of reddish brown on some of the rocks. Next up, I have this rope that I use for the bases when I want some hay or grass tufts. This is very budget material, and in my opinion it looks just the same as the ones you can buy in the shop, and this is what it looks like once it's glued down. Then I also glued a couple of shields. Next I used silver paint to paint the knobs on the wooden shield, and white paint to paint some kind of runes or texture on the blue shield. Then I used my homemade black wash on the wooden shield to make it look a bit more old and weathered. And after that I waited for it to dry out, and then used a light brown to make a small kind of weathering effect on it so that the black wash still showed underneath it a bit. Next up, I used brown to paint one of the rocks so that it doesn't look so uniform all in all. Then for the last part I used cotton swabs and created these long strips of it, rounded up and glued them on the swirly thing. Then I used a knife to a little bit adjust how it looks and take the excess off at this point also, and still it didn't look good enough for me, so I decided to also put some glue on the block itself, and this is what it looks in the final product. And here I started taking off the excess cotton also and make it look a little more puffy around the edges. And this is how it ended up, and I am pretty happy with the final product. Thank you for watching and see you next time.